Hello, everybody, and welcome to class. I wanted to go over a few techniques, a few ways to keep on schedule that will help you to game the class. In other words, to succeed, to work as not hard, but as smart as you possibly can to make sure that you ensure success. Now, what I have here is a screenshot of um, what we call the calendar for the class. Okay, so notice this is March. Okay, notice that Module 1, and that's where we are now, started on Monday. Okay, notice that your first important consideration in terms of a due date is your initial discussion post, right? You'll see that a little bit more in detail when we go into that part of the screen. But your initial discussion post is due by 11:59 p.m. your time on Thursday evening, okay? The end of Thursday. Well, what does this mean? What is this initial discussion post, particularly for those of us maybe who haven't taken an online class? Well, what this means basically is that you need to read the prompt or the question for the initial discussion and respond to that by Thursday at 11:59 p.m. Okay, so that's the first. Notice that there's due dates here, and notice that when we get up to week to some of the weeks, I think weeks 4. Okay, let's see, weeks 4 here, and then at week 8, there are no discussions that you need to participate in. That's to give us time to work on some of the other work we do. Okay, so make a note here, and if you have any question about due dates, you can always, on your homepage, from your homepage as a student, go up here to Tools, click on Calendar, and it'll give you a calendar, which will tell you this information. My screen right now is a little different than yours. So let's go back now and look at some of the other course items that we wanted to take a look at. When we go to announcements here, always check the announcements, okay? I've posted an announcement here, and then I've posted my welcome to class announcement. For some reason, I'm not getting the full screen on this screenshot, but that's okay. You get the general idea. You always want to check these announcements, because what I will do is to provide you, and I don't know why that is there. I'll delete that. Yeah. You'll see for every week there'll be a brief announcement, but I also provide informational videos here. Videos that will provide you an overview of the kind of intellectual core of each of the modules that we're going to be talking about. Okay, so here also, let's go back to this again, this course menu. You have this as well, and we'll click on there and we'll go learning modules. These are key. Okay, this learning module is key. Let's move this over for a minute. And so what we see is a course overview, right? And it'll tell you, this is the overview for the whole course. Let's go over here and look at the kind of course module 1. That's where we're at now, okay? So what do we have to do for module 1? Okay, it'll work you through everything. If you click on module 1 here, it will tell you what you need to do. First, read these, read those, get the getting started. That's your discussion post. And then you have a worksheet here, okay? And a final project review, okay? I like to suggest that we, to paraphrase Stephen Covey, the author who wrote 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, I like to begin with the end in mind. So please take a few minutes. 1-1 and 1-2 are going to be the written material we work on. So, for example, for this week, you'll need to respond to post your initial post by Thursday at 11:59. Then you have, and you can do this earlier if you wish. You can do it now. You need to respond to 2 other posts. The responses are important in these discussions. Don't ruin your excellent work by just posting an initial post and thinking that you're finished and not responding to your classmates, because you're also graded in these discussions on the responses. Now, the responses in the discussion posts are due Sunday at 11:59 p.m. along with any other work. So basically, what we have here, right, is we have the what's called a sociological observation, right? You're going to need to get out and do some observation here, right? Okay. And so you're also supposed to, for every, not the discussions necessarily, but for every piece of written assignment, whether it's a worksheet or a milestone, and we'll talk about those, you need to provide an APA, it's American Psychological Association, formatted reference and citation. For this first assignment, all you have to do really for this observation is to reference, and cite the textbook. Right, you don't need to, just to get in the practice of providing that citation. Please go to the library homepage, and that'll be over here. We can go back up here, and it's called Shapiro Library, right? If you go over here to there, and you look. And you type in the keyword APA I'm having a time today. Type in APA format, click search. That's not really well, it's still looking on my computer. So I'm having some issues today. So I'm going to go, where can I find information about APA style? Where can how can I, okay. So any of these, what is API style or format, right? And so what you're going to find here is you have it right here. Everything that you need for success. Books, ebooks, how to cite, okay? Now, when you write worksheet papers or milestones, which are another kind of assignment that we're going to do, or your final paper, you're required to support any assertion that you make, any statement that you make, with data from the research. It's not so hard, and we're not expecting you to do a lot of have loads of pages of citations. But what you do is you cite an idea. If it's not necessarily your original idea, and we're not looking for originality here, then what you'll do is you'll cite the work in the research work in the body of your paper. like after a sentence that you make. And then at the end, each citation needs to be connected to a reference. Okay, and then you have a list of your reference pages. And here, this is a citation format, and then and there's websites. How do I cite a website? Yeah, okay. More information. Okay, there is. I would recommend here APA Research Paper Basics video tutorial. Right. Please do this and get in the habit of doing it for every paper that you write, every paper or milestone. Okay? So let's go back now and look at, we'll go back to, I'm going to go over here. Okay, out of there. Get back to Module 1. Okay. Let's look at assignments. You'll have in this class 3 different types of assignment. Okay? The first kind of assignment is this discussion that we've discussed. The second kind of assignment is a worksheet. Okay? And that'll be over here. I'm going to click here. And it'll say the purpose of this worksheet is to get you out into the real world. You'll do some observing, okay? Okay. So you know every assignment will direct you towards the worksheet 1, the module 1 worksheet guidelines and rubric. And again, for this paper, all you have to do is cite an APA style, cite the textbook, and you'll be fine. If you have other citations you'd like to draw on, that's absolutely wonderful. So that's the first kind of assignment that you'll have. Okay. Let's look at Module 2 just to go ahead for a minute. In Module 2, you'll have a lot of work to do. You have a discussion. You have then you have a final project milestone. Now, these final project milestones, there are 3 of them. And then the fourth one is a milestone. It is a concept map and a narrative. So look in Module 1 at the final project review and really get your mind around this. The first thing you're going to have to do, each of these milestones, if you put these 3, and there are 3 of them throughout the class, and they're timed throughout the class, if you put them together and you follow any suggestions or critiques or mandates that I tell you to work with, as I grade these milestone ones, I'll give you information that will say you're clear to go on. Before you go on, you need to address this. If you do that, you're going to improve, and then your final paper will be excellent. So the more work you do up front, you incorporate each of these milestones into your final paper, okay? So that by the time your final paper comes around, you're not having to reinvent an entire final paper. Okay, this is part 1 of what I wanted to cover, just so we can get started. And I look forward to working with you. Please send me any other questions that you might have.